I've done literally thousands of major gift and lead gift solicitation calls. And sometimes people who have never done anything like that, they ask me, how in the world do you ask for $1 million? In the next video, we're going to get into the mechanics of that. We're going to get into the anatomy of a visitation. But I think before we do that, it's important to try and put yourself in the mindset of the person that we're visiting with, right? What are their concerns? There are 3 primary concerns that I have found that all lead gift donors have. The 3 concerns shared almost universally by all lead gift donors is, number 1, is the campaign going to hit goal? Number 2, they don't want to feel like they are the ones pulling the wagon alone. Are there other people involved in the campaign? Are there other people giving? And number 3, they want some assurance that you're a good steward of their money, right? Now, what I have found is they may not voice these concerns. They may be too polite to voice them. But through their questions, I kind of read between the lines, and in almost every major gift solicitation calls, I detect these 3 concerns among people who have the capacity to make the really big gifts. So if you understand these 3 concerns, you can be more careful in your conversations to not reinforce a concern that you now know is probably going to be there. So let's look at that first one. They want assurance that the campaign will reach goal. Let's talk about that. Here's the issue we're dealing with. Too many nonprofits launch capital campaigns without the requisite number of prospects at the top of the pyramid to successfully reach the goal that they hope to reach, right? I've even seen situations where the feasibility study will come back at X, and the organization will insist on moving forward with a campaign for Y. Now what happens is, in those sorts of circumstances, the campaign burns hot and bright for a couple of months because they're going to all their best friends who have money, right? But at some point, they run out of people to ask before they run out of need, right? And I like to say to people, a campaign isn't over when you hit goal, it's over when you run out of people to ask. And so consequently, what happens is the people that made their commitment early on, that were trusting when they were told this is what we're going to build, the people that came on board early, they begin to become a little bit despondent. It's like, wait a minute, we were going to do a campaign for $7 million. We've been stuck at $4 million for 5 months. What's going on? The point is, people who make those really big gifts are once burnt, twice shy. They were the first ones to come on the dance floor early on, but the campaign didn't hit goal, the building didn't get built, or didn't get built the way they were promised it was going to get built. And so the next time around when somebody asks them for $100,000 or $1 million, right, they're a little bit more hesitant. They want some assurance that, hey, listen, I'll give you my best gift, but I want some assurance that this thing is actually going to be a successful capital campaign. So again, to summarize, just be aware that history is part of what we're dealing with a lot of lead gift supporters, okay? Second, people who make really big gifts don't want to feel like they are being asked to pull the wagon alone. Those in the 1% of the income earners are being asked to support charities all the time, and it's easy for them to begin feeling like people are coming to them simply because it's easy, right? Or simply because they're noted for their philanthropy, right? They begin to wonder if anyone else is being asked and if others are doing, their fair share. And so the conclusion on this point is, when asking for significant gifts, it will always play well if you can say, we have X number of gifts already committed, or make it clear that, for example, there's 9,000 people in the database, and yes, Mr. Smith, all 9,000 will be asked. Both of those things will always play well to reassure the person that we're not just asking them to pull the wagon alone. Third, they want to know that you're a good steward of their gifts, and they would like some evidence of that. There's a lot of people asking, and people work hard for the money, and they want to ensure the money isn't being wasted. Now, they will never come outright and voice that concern, but they will telegraph it to you in a variety of ways. Let me give you a real-life example. I was with a client not too long ago, and the rector invited a very good friend, a major donor to this college, to come to campus for a visit to look at the next project that we needed to complete. And the first thing we did was we took him on a tour because he hadn't seen the last building we had built, in good measure with his money, right? But as we went through the campus and he saw some of the improvements, he began to ask, well, how much did you pay for this? What did that cost? And so on and so forth. And I could tell that, just from the look on his face, I was wondering, like, well, that's an interesting line of questioning that we're getting into here. And next thing I know, he's telling us stories. He's telling us stories about other times, other places, bishops that he sat with. And what he was trying to do by telling us these stories was he was telegraphing to us, in no uncertain terms, the fact that he was very concerned about ordained religious not having the financial wherewithal to get good deals, right? That he saw the church, constantly asking for money, and then on no few occasions, wasting his money. Now he didn't come right out and say that, but it was very obvious to me by the time that he left the campus that that was his number one concern. So again, just be aware that people want to know that you're a good steward of their money. If you keep these three underlying concerns in mind as you're visiting with people, you will avoid saying things that reinforces those concerns that we know are typically there.